Okay, so for this next video, I am going to be using the Explorer, the UC, and the Perio Probe for tooth number 13 and 14 on the buccals and linguals. I'm going to be exploring surfaces away from the clinician, so I'll be sitting around 10 to 11 o'clock. The patient's chin will be up and face somewhat towards me, so I'm just actually going to adjust that. And then let's see here. So this is the correct working end. And then I will begin by starting at the distal line angle of tooth number 14. About 2 to 3 teeth away from the working tooth. And then, okay, and here we go. Side to side, side to side, to side. Once I get to the interproximals, up and down, and then out. And then I'll be exploring tooth number 14 towards the mesial again. Always takes me a second to get in position. Okay, and then I kind of just like to do this first so I know where I end up. Okay. Side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, pivot, roll into the contact, up and down, and then out. Same thing for tooth number 13, start the distal line angle of the tooth. Okay. Side to side, side to side, side to side, pivot and roll, and then up and out. And then bring that. Okay, so starting at the distal line angle of the tooth. Okay. Side to side, side to, oh, actually, elbow in. There we go. Side to side, side to side, side to side. Pivot, roll, pivot, roll, pivot, roll. Walk into the contact. And then up and down. And then out. My wrist is always a little funky with that. And just to save time, I'm just going to use a UC again. I'm going to find the correct working end, which you just insert, and the primary blade is going to face towards the buccal. That's the correct working end, versus if you use this end, the face of the blade is facing up. You want it to face towards, again, the buccal. So for the distal, I'm going to insert my instrument right at the distal line angle, and then I'm going to open it up to the secondary blade. So then this is going to point that way. And here we go. All right. I'm just going to use that toe. Side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, and then up and down, and then out. Then I'm going to place that right back onto the distal line angle, open my toe. Actually, there we go. Open my toe. Now I'm on the primary blade, and then I am going to start off side to side, side to side, side to side, pivot, roll, pivot, roll, pivot, roll, walk in, and up and down, and then out. Okay. Side to side, side to side, side to side, up and down, and then out. Distal line angle of the tooth, and up. I'm going to use a primary blade. Pivot roll, pivot roll, roll, no. Totally split. So it's my fulcrum. So let's see. Back again to that distal line angle, and then I want to stand tall. Okay, side to side, pivot, side to side, pivot, side to side, pivot, pivot into the contacts, and then up and down, and then out. So that was a little choppy. You can definitely practice more in that mesial. And then I'm gonna start perio probing on tooth number 14. I'm gonna start high to low. Again, I'm gonna be sitting at the 10 to 11 o'clock position. So let's see. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of hold it like that. I'm gonna split my fingers so I have full range. Okay, and then I'm gonna start the distal line angle of the tooth. And again, I'm starting high. And then kind of rotate in to get my reading for 3. Walk my way out, still high. Once I get to the midline, I am also going to stop here and get my reading. It's like a 4. And then I'm gonna start dropping. Once I get to that midline, I pass it, I get my reading. And then once I get to the mesial line angle, I start dropping my instrument. And then I walk into the mesial contact. And that is going to be a 4. Obviously, it's supposed to be lighter pressure. Definitely was going pretty hard, so I think because I'm just explaining it. So let's try number 14. Okay, distal line angle of the tooth. Okay, bob, 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 bob. 2, bob, 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 bob. 3. Bob, 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 bob. 4, 3. Just kidding. 3. Okay. Moving on. So I am going to be exploring on the linguals now and using the UC and the probe. I'll be working on tooth number 14 first and making sure I have the correct working end. I'm going to establish my modified pen grasp, and I'll start with the distal line angle of the tooth. Again, patient's chin is going to be up, and I'll be sitting at 9 o'clock position. Patient's face is slightly away from me. Let me just try to get this mouth mirror towards the distal so I can see the distal. And then I will begin at the distal line angle of that tooth. Again, once I get into that contact, up and down, and then I will flip my instrument halfway and start again on the distal line angle of the tooth. And elbow in and elbow out. It's my range of motion right there. I'm just double checking. Okay, and then I will begin. Elbow in, elbow out. Once I get to that mesial line angle, pivot and roll, and then walk into that contact. Do the vertical strokes. And then I'll begin exploring tooth number 13, distal line angle, elbow in, elbow out, elbow in, pivot and roll into that contact, up and down for vertical strokes. Going towards the mesial, same thing. And elbow in, elbow out, in, elbow out. As I get to that mesial line angle, pivot and roll, pivot and roll. Okay, next I am going to be using the UC, and I'll begin by making sure I have the correct working end, and then I'm going to insert my instrument and face the primary blade towards the lingual, and then I'm going to slightly turn halfway to use the secondary blade for the distals. And wow, I'm already done. So I'll be working towards the mesial now, but opening up that blade just a little bit and using the toe of the instrument, side to side, side to side, mesial line angle, start pivoting and rolling and walking to that contact, and then up and down. I will admit my wrist activation needs some help once again. Tooth number 13, working on that distal, using the secondary blade. And once I'm on the mesial, be working on the primary blade. Side to side, side to side, pivot and roll, pivot and roll. Walk into the contact, up and down. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start using the Perio Probe for 13 and 14. I'm going to be sitting at 9 o'clock in this case, and then I'll start high and then end to low. Begin at the distal line angle of the tooth. Slight pressure, and I will place my fulcrum about 1 or 2 teeth away. Starting again at that distal line angle, bob, bob, bob. Get my reading, rotate that slightly into the cold and come right back out, bob, bob, bob. Right when I get to the center, past the center, start dropping my instrument and get my lingual reading. Then walk all the way to the mesial, dropping my probe and at the same time pivoting. Then get my reading there. Same thing for tooth number 13. Walk towards that distal, slightly rotate my Perio Probe, get that distal reading. Once I'm there, walk right back out towards the center, slightly past the center, then get my reading there. And then into the mesial, rotate that into the cold and get my mesial reading.